Welcome to Elite Expert Insider Podcast, where we will inspire, motivate, and educate entrepreneurs, innovators, and growth seekers. Brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, making the best and brightest in the industry #1 best-selling authors. 80% of people say they want to write a book. We're assuming that's the same for you. If so, contact us at www.eliteonlinepublishing.com and make your book a reality. Hey, it's Melanie Johnson here with another great podcast, Elite Expert Insider, with my friend and co-partner in Elite Online Publishing. Hey, Jen, how you doing?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day today. Sunshine everywhere.
All right. Even if it's not sunshining where you are, you can make your own sunshine. So we always bring you great content, great people to interview. Remember to subscribe to our podcast, really important, and leave us a message. We would love to hear from you. And we want to tell you, if you're looking to write a book or publish a book, we would love to help you. We've had over 50 authors become #1 bestsellers through Elite Online Publishing. So we're real proud of that. And we have over 1,800 titles under our own imprint. That means with our name, authoring them on Amazon. So if you're looking to write a book and become the expert and authority in your business or tell your story, give us a shout out. We'd love to hear from you. So we have an author today. She has written a book. She is the daughter and granddaughter of Holocaust survivors. And she has told their story in a wonderful book called Generation to Generation. So welcome, Emily Cohen. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me, you guys. It's quite a pleasure.
Great. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came about to writing this awesome book.
A little bit about myself. Well, Melanie just gave my, the background. I'm the granddaughter and daughter of Holocaust survivors. My father passed away in 1986, so I spent most of my adult life just my mom and I, and we didn't have a really great relationship growing up. She was emotionally abusive and physically abusive. It was definitely, damage from the Holocaust. But, when you're a kid and a teenager, you kind of know that, but you don't know that, if that makes sense. You're not willing. You just go, God, why can't it be different? Why can't she just change? So, I spent about 50 years under that, and she had a long, slow decline, so slow that I just was like, God, she's just strong as an ox. She's going to keep going. And then all of a sudden, she passed away. And then I didn't know what to do. I was in a depression. I didn't get out of bed for like 3 months, really. Because everything I'd been doing had been, about her, for her, with her, no matter what. My life, even though I had 2 kids and a husband, I was so entrenched in that. And I didn't know what to do. I started writing I started writing what most second-gen survivors do, which is write their parents' story. Because I knew it so well. She had done several videos and a lot of talks in high schools way back. So I actually used her 1988 video with the big glasses that she recorded to write her story. And a neighbor had said, who was a writing coach, English teacher at Berkeley High, said, where are you in this story? She was volunteering to help me. And she said, where are you? And I'm like, this isn't my story. And she said, yes, it is. This affected you. You're doing everything from third person. You're not showing us how it affected you and what your emotions and what your thoughts and feelings were. So even though I've been a writer most of my career, I hadn't done a lot of introspective writing. It was all marketing writing. So no emotion there.
Yeah.
Other than saying leading edge or so. Right. I really had to relearn how to write. it's just a different kind of writing, and I had to really get from here into here.
Yeah.
And so once I started, I just kept going. And I was finding all kinds of dots that had never connected before. Like, I mean, I always knew that when my mom would get angry, she would just withdraw and her eyes would change. I mean, it was this strange physical thing. But I never really thought about the fact that she was somewhere in her, she was reliving something that happened, 70 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what happened. And then I actually hooked up with the author incubator, and it was really Angela who saw that I could help people. I really wasn't looking to work with others. I was originally started this really more as a catharsis.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got down to it and I started rereading it again, I'm like, God, she's right. There are so many people that feel this way.
Yeah.
And so here's where I am now. And I run workshops. I've done some one-on-one coaching, but I do a lot of workshops that help other second and third generation survivors write their parents' story with their angle on it, their opinion.
I think that's great that she asked you and had you think about those feelings and think about you writing it in the first person, because I mean, even if you're portraying someone else's story, like she said, it has an effect on you, whether you think it does or not. And you opening your mind to that, I think it's great that you wrote the book in that perspective.
Yes. Yeah, and I don't know if you read the very end of my book is my mom's story, and I start writing it in my voice, and then I switch. There was just one point where it felt like, this needs to be her voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how you're taking your book, that we tell people when you become an author, don't expect to become a millionaire from your book sales. But what really you're doing is taking that and figuring out how to help people on other levels. So I love that you're helping other people to tell their story through your book and the process that you went through. So I think that's really important. Walk us through how you discovered that, and that became part of the plan of the book.
How I discovered that I can help people.
Yeah.
Well, what started happening even before the book was out, I was, there's a funny network of second gens and third gens. We kind of, when we find one another, we just gel instantly. And I got connected with a woman through a friend of mine who made this movie called Big Sonia. And I don't know if you have heard about it. It's about a Holocaust survivor, Sonia, who lives in Kansas City, and she's just feisty. But the movie, her granddaughter, who I connected with, her granddaughter made this film, and there are themes of intergenerational trauma in it as well. Not so much from her perspective, but her Sonia has 2 children, and it was when they interviewed the children, it was coming out. So Leah and I connected, and I started, she asked me to speak before several screenings of the film. And when I would get up there and I'd speak, after that, people would come up to me and say, "Oh my God, that's exactly how I feel." And so it just kept happening over and over. Everywhere I went, people would come up and say, "That's exactly you could have been talking about me. I just never knew it was, that other people felt this way." Because you don't talk about it. So I literally, one woman came up to me in Seattle and said, "Oh, can you help me figure this out?" And I said, "Sure." And that's how it all kind of started.
Yeah. The business was born, more or less. What is that you're saying, like there, I felt the exact same way. What is that overlying feeling that seems to be consistent from your book to other people?
So I use a. Uh-oh, we're getting
Yeah, we're getting an echo.
all of a sudden.
Let me pause it for a second.
That was weird.
So you talked about this feeling that's consistent when you were just talking about that experience. What is that consistent feeling that people get, that you experience, that other people from the generations get?
So I describe it when I talk as holding something in your hand, you know, like a feather, something really light. But if you hold it there for an hour or a day or a week, you know, holding it, it gets really heavy and uncomfortable. And it's this invisible weight of a trauma that we didn't even experience firsthand, but we feel it inside our DNA. There are actually studies, scientific studies, that show we carry this trauma in our DNA.
Wow.
So it's called, epigenetics. And so external forces and events, traumas, can change your DNA. So there are certain commonalities that we feel it's how do I describe this? It's like we were overshadowed by our parents when we were young. So nothing that we did was ever as, you know, as traumatic as what happened to them. So if I got beat up on the bus, I'd come home and my mom would, it was the Holocaust. You couldn't, well, so what? Look what I went through. And so
Right.
That's one thing. And whether you had a loving, warm parent or parenting situation or not, like me, but there was some of that was the same. Like the children who were afraid to tell their parents that something happened to them because they didn't want their parent to remember what happened in the Holocaust, so they didn't want to be
Bring it up.
the pain. It's this dysfunction that in different ways, but it's the same reasoning. And so there's a lot of unexplained anxiety. Hypervigilance is really another hallmark, that you're always kind of waiting for the bad thing to happen. I have clients who tell me that they physically can't give a friend or anybody their address because they're afraid that they don't want anybody to know where they live because the Nazis might come get them. It's all these inherited feelings because we didn't experience that ourselves, but it's coming down from our parents, our grandparents, and we feel it.
What's one of the best tools you can give to help deal with it? How did you deal with that you felt helped you?
So I am a firm believer in writing things down because if you just keep it in your head, it's a running loop and you don't really solve the problem or solve the feeling. It just goes around and around and around. So when you write, you give those thoughts a place to land and get out of your head, and then you can choose to put it away for a while or look at it, and you just get a different perspective. And I guess what happened with me is that I recognized finally some of these habits that I had inherited, behaviors, and then once I wrote it out and figured out where it came from, I could see that it was this intergenerational. And so when I would have an experience and I'd go into that pattern, I could go, wait, I'm going back into that pattern. I'm going to stop it now.
Yeah. I think it's great what you said about writing it down and having those aha moments when you're writing, whether you're just journaling or you're taking notes on something or you have a thought and you write it down. I think writing it down really does change your perspective on things and help you get closure or even just enlightenment, right? One or the other.
Right. So I spent a lot of time with clients. This process is not easy. It's not simply just sitting down in the library and going, oh, I think I'm gonna, just start to write. It brings up incredibly strong emotions, and clients cry. They, they do get depressed, but they, then they come out the other side. There's anger, there's resentment, but because I've been there, I've been in their shoes, I know what they're going to feel before they even get there, and I can help them through. So that is, I guess, my real value add is that they don't have to do it themselves. I did it myself. It was hard. It cost me my marriage. It cost me, my family, but I am a better person now, much more stable. In fact, I talked to a girlfriend yesterday. She goes, God, you are just so different. And I know I am. I'm calmer. There's not this frantic frenzy, anxiety. I remember I hated feeling like that. Nobody wants to feel that way.
Excellent. I'm so glad that you wrote this book and you have this new experience now. And so now that you have your book, are you speaking on stages? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing with your book.
Yes, actually, I am speaking on stages. I am been going to a lot of Holocaust education weeks. Toronto has one. There are lots of different places. I was just at the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in D.C. 2 weeks ago. They have my book in the bookstore. That was quite exciting.
That's awesome.
And I did an author signing, which was on my vision board 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've been speaking there. I am also, I've been curating a panel. And the reason I use curate is because it will be with different people in different cities. It will be with local people. It's debuting at the 92nd Street Y in October. And what it is a multi-generational panel. So it's never been done before. It's a survivor, a second gen, a third gen, and a fourth gen. And so I had to work around the fourth gen's bar mitzvah for this because he's 13. But it's the first time anybody's ever pulled that together. And I'm really, really excited about that. And I'm in the process of pulling it together for different cities.
Awesome. And where can people go to find more about that and get all the event information as well as learn more about you and hire you for your services?
Okay, so my website is traumahealingcoach.com, and I have a speakers tab in there. They can find where I'm speaking. They can find the panels versus where I'm speaking on my own, and they can also find out about my workshops so that they can go through this healing journey with someone who's been there.
Awesome. Well, we'll put that link up at the bottom and make sure people can find that, and also put it in our blog post with this podcast as well.
Okay.
Terrific. Thanks for stopping by today, Emily. And make sure you subscribe to this podcast because we always have some great people on, and we want to make sure that you're on top of it and can come visit us every time we have a podcast once a week. So if you're looking to become an author and write a book about your business or your personal life, we'd love for you to contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, and you can submit a form right there. And we would love to make you one of our 50 plus authors that have become #1 on Amazon. We'll see you next time right here at Elite Expert Insider.
Bye.
Bye.
If you'd like to create the most powerful advertising tool for your business, contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com, where we will help you create, publish, and make your book a #1 bestseller and show you how to get new leads and more revenue for your business. If you'd like to check us out on our Facebook page, we have a free book for you as our gift. Just go and click free book. Remember to subscribe and leave a comment for our podcast. We would love to hear from you.